My oldest moved out at age 12. My life was complicated, but I made it work. I stayed sober and loved taking care of children. My father would stop by daily and we would talk. No matter what, he was there for me, always telling me how proud he was and what a wonderful mother I had become. Because of my youngest son's diagnosis, life was challenging. I worked with several counselors on behavioral modifications and self-issues, but when it came to my personal issues with my mom, I'd walk away. It was too painful. Both of my boys graduated with honors. My youngest worked out daily and dreamed of being the next ultimate kickboxer. His life, however, was like a jigsaw puzzle, always missing something. Friends and girlfriends all came and went, and he started drinking and using drugs to cover up his life. His only healthy outlet was kickboxing, and he soon lost that as he ended up in jail for several offenses. As his mother, I had many sleepless nights and was very emotional. I went to my doctor, who put me on Xanax. Thank God I had a father. He and my youngest son spent a lot of time together. Never once did Dad turn his back on us, no matter what we did. We always knew he would be there. He was the greatest man I ever knew. One day I was making plans to have morning coffee, and Mother called saying, "Maggie, it's your father." As I was pulling out of the driveway, the ambulance raced by. By that time I arrived, he was gone. I fell to my knees saying, "God, no, don't take my dad." I couldn't bear that he would never be here again. My life as I knew it had just ended. I now had to go and tell my boys. I never forgot that moment. With tears flowing and his head bowed, my youngest son put his letterman's jacket over my dad. I was in hysterics, but managed to say, "Papa, I love you. Thank you for being my rock, my best friend, and my salvation." My rock was gone. How could I continue my life? As days came and went, I got more depressed and increased my Xanax to stay numb. My sons were both devastated, especially my youngest. In that state of mind, I met a woman who was homeless and had a child. My heart opened up when I heard the child say, "Mommy, where will we sleep? I'm hungry." I spoke up and said, "I have a big house and you are welcome to stay." What I didn't know was that she was into smoking crack. Because of my dad's death, I allowed myself to enter the crack world. Within 6 months, I had lost my home, daycare business, and some of my inheritance. I remember telling my brother that my mom would be proud of me because I finally lost weight. I went from 240 pounds down to 100 pounds. My weight had always been one of our biggest battles. She would tell me what a pig I was. I got so upset that once I punched out the glass of a mirror so I wouldn't have to see myself. I hated myself, and smoking crack covered up all my bad feelings. I felt like a superwoman. I had new friends who told me how awesome I was. I had money. I thought I had it all, and I felt complete. My best friend told me how worried she was about me, but I told her that I only smoked crack socially. Who does that? My life soon became a nightmare. I was losing everything. My credit cards were maxed out. My bank account was out of control. After trying to take my life, I called my father's business partner for help. And within 1 month, I entered a 45-day treatment program. After completing the program, I returned to a torn-up house, my house that my father had worked so hard to give me. It was destroyed. The sheriff met me to escort me off the property. I had lost the only memory left of my dad and me. I cried, I smashed walls, and I felt like my life needed to end. But the only thing this experience did was lead me back to the drug world. I moved to Kirkland and again took in another homeless woman. The days were filled with drugs and doing whatever I needed to survive. I lost thousands of dollars and gave all my vehicles away to buy drugs. I was 100 pounds. I tried to quit so many times, but I never could. As my life continued, I had to deal with the death of my roommate, who was brutally murdered. This loss was very hard on me since we had built a special relationship. No one should ever have her life taken before its time, especially when you leave 7 children. Her death made me realize how serious the drug world was and how much it destroys lives. As I dealt with this loss, I moved into a clean and sober house where I took care of children and did light housework. I was able to stay clean for 8 months. Unfortunately, I relapsed while doing a favor for someone who needed pain pills. I thought I was above that because I could put myself into a recovery house, be able to get what I needed and walk out without any troubles. Wrong. No matter how long someone is clean, she should never put herself back into a tempting situation. Because of my decision, I became homeless, continued my drugs, and now I was forced to work the streets to make my rent. I didn't lose all of my inheritance because my family withheld the money in my best interest. I am thankful for that. I lived motel to motel. I hardly ate, slept very little, and became suicidal. I was a wreck and wondered whether I ever would be normal again. The emptiness I felt was terrible. I overdosed twice, resulting in 2 heart attacks. My kids couldn't find me and prayed to God that their mother would survive. August 15th, 2006 was the turning point for me. I had been lacking sleep for days, was beaten up, had no way to score drugs, and was arrested for prostitution. I was at the end.